Can this 12-year-old game impress a new player in 2025? Have you ever had a list of games that you've been meaning to play but you just never had the time? Well, despite being on my list for years, it just kept getting demoted. Why, you ask? Well, competitive games has had quite a chokehold on me, and so I decided to go deep in my bag and finally pick out Warframe. So this is the Warframe experience for someone who has never played the game at all. We load up into the game, we are met with some music. Very loud music actually. Can you not? This music is so loud, it's unnecessarily loud. Okay, hold on guys. Once I lowered the music, I logged in and we were good to go. We are put into a cinematic. Well, you can tell it is really well made. Despite being confused as to what is going on, we see a hooded girl who looks like she may be in the wrong game, Assassin's Creed, being chased by the weirdly looking villains called the Grenadier. As the Assassin's Creed character drops the Lotus in front of the statue, you see a montage of a peculiar but still cool looking ninja tear his way through some enemies. And then you see the montage for the other two, which at first glance it does seem to appear they put a bit more effort into the first character than the other two, but that's just my thoughts. After the montages, as the Grenadier is about to catch the hooded girl, there is a very cool zoom in onto the girl's eyes, and then we get to pick out the 3 characters we just saw from the montages. So now we are given this Pokemon-like scenario where we can pick between Excalibur, Mag, and Volt. Excalibur exudes the very cool Warframe persona, being a space ninja essentially with an emphasis on his sword. Mag is a Warframe based on creating magnetic fields with an emphasis on repulsion and attraction. And then you have Volt, who uses electricity. Now, the Warframe selection is actually quite nice. You get their ability list, but what I found even more impressive as a new player is that you get to see how the moves look in actual gameplay, which allows you to visualize how that would look in game. And I think that's a nice feature. Now, if you told me to play this game like 5 years back, I would have picked Excalibur, but I've turned into that person who just wants to be different from the norm every single time, so I picked Volt. We have this weird looking villain put something on our wonderful legs, and then we get this narrator having an emotional breakdown.
I can't lose another Tenno.
So it decides to activate us. We are finally into the game, but I had to change my settings because that is something I couldn't find or it just doesn't allow you to when you're loading up the game. My sensitivity is way too high. The fuck is this? The game then tells us to use our one ability to shock, and shock is what I did. After clearing the mobs, the narrator, who we now know as Lotus, tells us to get to the extraction point. We get options between the scanner, a sword, and then the bow, which shatters armor for heavy blows. I opted for the sword. So far, the game doesn't feel clunky. I get a viewer into my stream who says, and I quote, "You will never feel good about any game movement ever again." And he couldn't be more right. I spent the few minutes just jumping, dashing, sliding, and then slashing my enemies. It felt really good. Ooh, that's sick! What the hell did I just do there? I then get asked to pick a secondary, and given how much of a ninja I'm trying to emulate, we go for the kunais, which I noticed they silently kill, which hints there is a stealth aspect in this game, so that's pretty nice. As I am playing around my kunais, as any novice ninja will, I find out that time sort of slows down when you jump and aim. Whilst that is a very cool mechanic, it would have been really nice to know from the game telling me that, rather than me just finding out and being quite confused. To even add more brownie points to Warframe, I now end up learning the bread and butter of Warframe's movement. Aim up, then hold control and... Oh, okay. The bullet jump. Which my viewer actually gave me some interesting lore about the bullet jump, that in fact it was a bug in the first place, but because everyone loved it, it was implemented by the devs, which basically just tells me that the game developers are really in tune with their player base, which is really cool to see. Our ship gets taken down by this disgusting villain, and now we need to get our old ship. Oh, well, we're screwed. Oh, you look ugly as hell. Can I just say that first and foremost? Moving further along, we get asked to pick our primary, an automatic rifle or a stealthy bow. And since we already have our kunais, I had to go for the rifle. We encounter our ship where we need to disengage the suppression systems, and so we are met with this puzzle where I didn't really know or even have a clue as to what I needed to do. Wait, what do you do? Wait, what? Of course, as a gamer, I used my intuition and realized you had to press spacebar in time when the node lines up with the arrow. But it would have been nice to have something like Lotus narrate over some instructions as I was doing the puzzle. After defending the ship and still having my ears get blasted because of how loud this game is, Jesus Christ, this game is so loud. Fuck my ears. We are finally able to escape. Being in our ship and having the camera really invade my personal space, I don't like how close I am to the camera. We meet Ordis, who I realized is extremely snarky and is pretty funny.
Oh, the violation.
Whilst I am navigating the ship, I do find it tricky to know what to do next, especially when I see this whole planet just pop onto my screen. I don't really know what exactly to click. But what I can appreciate is the sort of pop-up holographic screens to really give you that immersion that you actually are in the ship. We go on a series of quests basically making us repair the ship from one station at a time. As I embark to get the comms segment, it's now that Lotus tells us that we need to navigate this quest either through stealth or guns and swords blazing. Now, as a noob, I assume crouching is stealth, but my viewer pointed out that that wasn't the case. It was just how I kill the enemy rather than the noises I make. Crouch isn't stealth. Stealth is an ability some frames do have to. Oh. So basically, to do stealth, I just need to make sure I kill them with the stealth weapons. At the time, I didn't realize this, but I didn't know enemies could use panic buttons to trigger the alarm, like what I saw now. Once again, it would have been nice to know from Lotus because as a new player, I was so stimulated by the world creation itself, I didn't even read the sign till I looked back at this footage. We get a segment and then we extract, which I didn't realize this is where we get our mods, XP and materials. After this, it was then I was notified that Lotus in the Warframe community is called Space Mom. I still don't know the origins of Space Mom or where she came from, but Ordis and Space Mom notify us that we need to save someone sympathetic to the Tenno cause, Darvo, the arms dealer. We carve our way through, and so it is then Space Mom who tells me to go stealth mode to make saving Darvo easier. And so, stealth is what I did. After we save Darvo, we add mods into our Warframe in which Ordis proceeds to say this.
Ordis realizes modding may seem a tad overwhelming, but everything will soon make sense.
And confusing it was. It was a viewer who ended up telling me about polarity and how it halves the value of the mods when you install it in, which once again would have been nice to know through the game, not through the viewer. Darvo gives us a blueprint to take this parasite off my leg, and so we need to go to another planet to get the foundry segment. We successfully get the segment and kill all the Grineer to avenge the colonists, and so we extract. We find out our resources also got looted in this empty ass goddamn ship. We need to get the resources to build the blueprint.
If you're looking for resources, why didn't you just say so?
Now, at this point, it was quite repetitive with the missions. We get a segment, we extract, put it onto the ship, and then we go again. Despite that, I have to say the movement has been carrying my experience so far and has been making this repetitive experience a bit less tedious. Whilst the story is a bit basic right now, I understand it is just laying the foundations. We go into the cold region to get these resources, where I am met with another confusing puzzle, which once again, it doesn't tell me how to actually solve this puzzle. After realizing that I need to get the caches and not just kill all the mods, we get all 3 caches and then like always, we extract. As this ugly Grineer boss, which if I remember is called King Vor, appears on my screen, he claims he has me in his grasps. We make the blueprint and we moved Vor's Ascaris off my leg now, saving Space Mom from having another emotional breakdown. Unfortunately, Vor's Ascaris has done so much damage and so we need to find him. As we find the nav segment, we get Space Mom explaining to us that the galleon I am on is on a direct course to find a convoy of colonists. And so I have 2 options, extract right now or disable the galleon to save the colonists. However, this might jeopardize the mission. I opt for the second option and we destroy the fuel injectors and then extract. We get lectured by Space Mom about how important I am, so I shouldn't be doing these things that can jeopardize the mission. What it's like to get some family love. I mean, huh? What? No? We now get the opportunity to finally confront Captain Vor and put an end to him. It was in this mission that I was told that Vor has now been stripped of his elite guard and has been cast out for a reason I don't know. Whilst I can assume that we've been wreaking havoc, spoiling his plans, it still isn't communicated to us. And even so, I would have appreciated a small cinematic as to what's going on from his side. We finally get our showdown with Vor, which after face tanking his non-existent damage, which was probably why he was cast out, we defeat Vor. And then in classic Warframe fashion, we extract. Space Mom tells us that whilst we are free from Vor, work still needs to be done, which I assume is the signal that we finished this tutorial section where I have played for 1 hour and 36 minutes. With that said, welcome to Cetus. Okay. We are greeted with a wonderful cinematic of Cetus where we finally get to see other online players. We go to speak to what seems to be an elder of this village called Konzu. Konzu wants us to prove ourselves.
Gotta prove yourself first. Head out on the plains and show me what you can do.
Okay, and so it is at this point where we get to see the open world, which I got to say is pretty damn amazing. Okay, besides from, the constant me just spinning around the world looks really nice, man. The world looks amazing with its massive terrain, and as I was bullet jumping, I couldn't help but be more addicted with this game. We kill loads of Grineer, and hence we prove ourselves to Konzu.
Ayo.
Now, with 2 hours and 10 minutes of me playing the game, I have made my decision. I couldn't help but say this game is amazing. Warframe exudes the word cool, with warriors who are master of the gun and sword, making them look like ninjas no less. So from an appearance standpoint, I was already a fan. Mix in with the mechanics of the game, the smooth movement, the fun fighting styles with either sword, gun, or just your spells, and then sprinkle in the amazing world creation of this game, whether that's open world or the areas we go to loot and extract. And whilst Warframe tries to not overwhelm you, they go to such an other extreme. They don't even explain much at all, which is worrying for a new player. I definitely have to say, the viewer on my stream made navigating the game easier rather than the game itself. And while these things were obstacles, the player base is really friendly, so you can ask for help anyways. I am 100% annoyed that I waited so long to play this game, but I assure you, Warframe is something I will be playing a lot more.
Cause I'm feeling like I'm running and I'm feeling like I gotta get away, better know that I don't and I won't ever stop, cause you know I gotta win every day. She really wanna pop me, just know that you will never flop me.